Questioned by police. New tonight on Our News Live at 7, the police commissioner confirms the former cabinet minister caught in a police probe. But first,
I'm Jasmine Brown, and coming up tonight on Our News, the legal year is officially opened and the new Chief Justice gives his charge.
Plus, new details tonight as the police commissioner confirms one suspect is in custody in a recent sexual assault and home invasion on Marshall Road. And then in Our News at 7:30, residents weigh in on Dame Marguerite's demand for an apology over Majority Rule Day. Our News Live at 7 starts now. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder is defending the work of the judiciary at the start of this new legal year, outlining plans for the court system, including upgrades to infrastructure, a deeper judges' bench, and the return of pre-pandemic court proceedings. Jasmine Brown has more from today's official ceremony to mark the opening of the legal year.
Proceedings for the opening of the legal year were back today, but they weren't quite so traditional. In fact, a part of those proceedings happened here at the Margaritaville Resort. The opening of the 2023 legal year was marked with the traditional march of judicial officers from the main Supreme Court building led by the Chief Justice, and an early morning religious ceremony held at Christ Church Cathedral that was followed by a colorful inspection of the guard. Once the traditions were complete, the judicial officers marched not back to the Supreme Court, but to number 2 Bay Street, where court proceedings were held at the Margaritaville Beach Resort Compass Ballroom. Officials had a change of location after flooding in the main Supreme Court building rendered it unusable. At those midday proceedings, Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder addressed criticism of the courts.
It is unhelpful to attack the judiciary and suggest that the courts are responsible for all that ails the criminal justice system, or that we are not completing trials. Not only is the suggestion wholly inaccurate, it ignores the known realities in the criminal courts and in our countries.
And that's not the only issue he spoke to.
The rules of engagement to prosecute and defend criminal matters have not changed. The prosecution is aware as to what it takes to secure a conviction or to convince a judge that bail is not appropriate in a given circumstances. Judges act on evidence. I'm not here to suggest that all is well in the administration of criminal justice on our side. We have our challenges, and so does our partners.
When it comes to what's in store for the court system, Sir Ian says there are planned upgrades. In addition to those, the Chief Justice also says he's recommending 5 new Supreme Court judges. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
And members of the judiciary also getting an earful during the religious service marking the opening of the 2023 legal year. That's where the very Reverend Harry Bain gave his assessment of the justice system, declaring there's a lot more work to be done.
These days, to get bail now seems like a death sentence. We've come to the point where the police are calling for action with respect to the granting of bail. In my layman's opinion, our justice system is not functioning at its optimum. I hasten to say, however, that for the judicial system to do its work efficiently and in a timely manner, all stakeholders must do their part with dispatch.
While Bain, who is the Dean and Rector at Christ Church Cathedral, says he's not casting blame, he challenged the executive to do its part.
We need a modern, functional, and appropriately equipped Supreme Court complex. That should be the gift of the executive to the judicial system after 50 years of independence.
Meanwhile, the main Supreme Court building would be best used as a museum. Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder making the suggestion, saying the 101-year-old building has had challenges, including a roofing issue that caused major flooding in the courts in December. Our News obtained this video showing the courtroom floor flooded and everything from the lawyers' desks to judges' bench covered in water.
The entire roof building flooded. Massive amounts of water fell through the ceiling of each of the 4 courtrooms and judges' offices, destroying ceiling tiles, light fixtures, furniture, court files, and the personal property of the judges. That building, an architecturally beautiful neo-Georgian structure, just celebrated its 100th anniversary, having been built in 1921. Its best use today, unfortunately, is as a museum.
And now to this. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez confirming former Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Lanisha Roll, along with her husband Von Tenken Roll, are being questioned by police. Although tight-lipped on the matter, the commissioner referenced reports circulating about the former minister and Seabreeze MP who resigned from cabinet in February 2021. We understand the police probe reportedly stems from allegations made about Roll during her term as minister. Here's what the commissioner told reporters today.
They came into custody yesterday. They were released pending last night to return this morning. So at this hour, I believe they are still speaking to investigators at this time. I can't say exactly what the officers put to them, but you know what was circulating in the media. They are speaking to them at this time.
Last November, Roll told reporters on the steps of the House of Assembly that in due time, the truth will be exposed. And investigators say they are making headway into 2 sexual assault cases on New Providence. Sasha Lightbourne has the latest.
Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez confirming to the media that a man was arrested last night for that home invasion sexual assault matter that occurred early Sunday morning in the Marshall Road area.
He is assisting us in locating 2 others. During the arrest, we also recovered a .40 loaded pistol at his residence. A vehicle was also towed from that general area, believed to have been used in the commission of the offense. So we are pleased where we are at this time with respect to that investigation.
He said the search for 2 other suspects in that matter continues. Meanwhile, the commissioner also provided an update on the matter involving a 14-year-old girl who was assaulted at her home in eastern New Providence.
It came to our attention through the parents that the 14-year-old was seeing an adult male. A 19-year-old was seeing this 14-year-old. She is assisting us in trying to locate these individuals.
Fernandez says as more information becomes available, the public and press will be updated. Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks, Sasha. And Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard throwing his support behind former Governor General Dame Marguerite Pindling, who accused the Progressive Liberal Party of using her late husband's memory for its own motives. Speaking at former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pindling's mausoleum on Tuesday, Dame Marguerite demanded an apology, saying it seems the leadership forgot about her. Pintard saying he supports anyone seeking to clarify the narrative that Majority Rule Day is a PLP event. And when asked his views on Dame Marguerite seeking a public apology from PLP Chairman Fred Mitchell, he said this.
The PLP can address that matter. The point I'm making is that the comments I heard by way of the media is consistent with the comments we have had. It is important for us to have a rounded view and a tribute to all of those who participated in ushering in Majority Rule, credit, and not for one particular group to try to give the impression that only they formed Majority Rule.
All right, we've got more to get to in a moment, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Kendino. Guess what temperature you woke up to this morning?
75?
58.
Whoa.
58 was
Mind you, I felt the draft. I had windows open, so I did feel it.
Very chilly this morning, and we look like we're going to be headed towards that once again. We may not get to 58, but we're going to get some very low temperatures. We have very little clouds out there, so.
All right, good stuff.
Stay tuned for it.
Yeah.
70 degrees outside our studios right now, though. Few clouds. Your winds are out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature, well, slightly warmer at 71. Temperatures around the islands tonight. In Freeport, it is 69 already, 72 over in Marsh Harbor, 75 in Alistown, Bimini. Great Harbor Key, 73. We pick up 71 in Nicholstown, Andros, over in Governor's Harbor, 74. And to the central Bahamas, slightly warmer, 73 in Kemps Bay, 75 in Artstown, Cat Island. Over in Copenhagen, Salvador, 72, 77 in Georgetown. Deadman's Key, you are 76 at this hour. And into the deep south, Warmer still with 78 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, 76 in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island. Delectable Bay, Acklands, you are 77, as well as in Abrahams Bay, also in Matthew Town, Inagua, and our neighbors to the southeast, Turks and Caicos Islands, you are 75 at this hour. High pressure in charge. Nothing really to talk about. That high is going to continue to be with us for at least another day before it slides out towards the east. We expect a cold front that is now moving across the Texas area. That should get in here sometime Friday afternoon, Friday night. So we're looking for a big change in temperatures, especially across Grand Bahama and the Abacos, as well as Bimini. Temperatures will be down into the upper 60s, possibly for Saturday, even Sunday. But quiet weather tonight, and that quiet weather will continue with us through tomorrow. That's your first check on weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come in our news, $5 billion worth of FTX assets seized. We'll tell you how much was recovered in the Bahamas. 8 injured in a boating accident on Exuma. The area MP is weighing in. Plus, one day after Reverend C.B. Moss had to be rushed to hospital during a majority rule day observance, we have an update on his condition. The story when our news returns. U.S. bankruptcy proceedings, court proceedings for fallen crypto company FTX continuing in Delaware today, revealing $5 billion in liquid assets were recovered and around $170 million in assets seized in the Bahamas. Berthany McDermott has the latest.
FTX has recovered more than $5 billion in liquid assets, but the company's attorney Andy Diedrich telling a U.S. bankruptcy judge the extent of customer losses in the company's collapse is still unknown. But Diedrich telling the court the $5 billion recovered does not include assets seized by the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. FTX's attorney estimated the seized assets were worth as little as $170 million, while Bahamian authorities put the figure as high as $3.5 billion. He said the seized assets are largely comprised of FTX's proprietary and liquid FTT token, which is highly volatile in price. He also told the court the company plans to sell non-strategic investments that had a book value of $4.6 billion. The U.S. Commodities Futures Trading Commission has estimated missing customer funds at more than $8 billion. The company, which was valued at $32 billion just a year ago, filed for bankruptcy protection in November as U.S. prosecutors accused founder Sam Bankman-Fried of orchestrating an epic fraud costing investors, customers, and lenders billions of dollars. In addition, some equity investors were disclosed in a Monday court filing, including American football star Tom Brady, Brady's former wife, and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty in a Manhattan federal court last month after he was indicted for allegedly stealing customer deposits to pay debt from his hedge fund Alameda Research and lied to equity investors about the now failed crypto exchange's financial condition. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
8 people who were injured in an Exuma boating accident are doing well, according to the area member of parliament, who says there were no life-threatening injuries. Exuma and Ragged Island member of parliament Chester Cooper telling Our News the boaters were injured when the boat they were on crashed into a rock while navigating the Keys at night. Cooper says the crash highlights some areas for improvements.
This is the way of life amongst the Exuma Keys. And in the Exumas, generally, people traverse very familiar territory at night, sometimes in small vessels. And just like there are sometimes traffic accidents on the street, we sometimes have these most unfortunate accidents on the seas. We're going to look to see what we can do to provide more lighting in some of these potentially dangerous areas.
And we are learning that philanthropist, activist, and pastor of Mount Olive Baptist Church, Reverend C.B. Moss, is in stable condition this evening after experiencing a medical emergency while attending the Majority Rule Day service at St. Agnes Anglican Church. Reverend Moss received CPR at the church before being taken into hospital for further medical assistance. Our news understands that he has a team of doctors assigned to him and is undergoing numerous tests and treatments at this time. The Moss family extending appreciation for the outpouring of love during this time, and they are asking for your continued prayers, and for all of us at Our News, we are joining in those prayers. When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world, as most flights across the U.S. are back on track after a critical system goes offline this morning. And later, a UK MP suspended for spreading misinformation about the COVID-19 vaccine. The details when Our News returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. President Joe Biden has ordered an investigation into a Federal Aviation Administration system outage that grounded flights across the country Wednesday morning. U.S. flights were slowly beginning to resume departures, and a ground stop was lifted this morning after the FAA scrambled to fix the outage. More than 4,300 flights had been delayed and 700 canceled, as officials say it will take hours to recover. While the cause is unclear, U.S. officials say they had so far found no evidence of a cyber attack. And Conservative British MP Andrew Bridgen has been suspended for spreading misinformation about COVID vaccination after he posted a tweet that compared vaccines to the Holocaust. Tory Chief Whip Simon Hart said the comments had crossed a line and caused great offense. Hart said Bridgen would lose the party whip, meaning he will sit as an independent while a formal investigation takes place. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also condemning the remarks, calling the comparison utterly unacceptable. Still to come in Our News, Greg is back with your extended weather forecast. And then in Our News at 7:30, a look at when you can expect to learn more about marital rape legislation. It's all coming up when Our News returns. All right, welcome back to Our News. To watch any of the stories you've seen so far tonight and for all the latest breaking news, you can visit ournews.bs. And remember, you can share your favorite stories right from the Our News Bahamas Facebook page. News at 7 is done now, but joining us is Megan Shepard with the latest headlines. Megan, how was your holiday yesterday? I didn't get to see you.
My holiday was very uneventful, but I got much needed rest. I spent the day with my mom and my dad.
Yeah, oh, that's nice.
That's nice. What about you?
I worked. I mean, we
Fun.
were here. We were here all day, so yeah, nice. we got through it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and we are still following that police probe into a former cabinet minister who was brought in for questioning, as well as the full scoop on the Majority Rule Day debacle involving the former Governor General. Tonight on Our News, mixed reaction after this year's Majority Rule Day celebrations draw chastisement by Dame Marguerite Hinling. Your voice tonight on Our News Live at 7:30.
The 2023 legal year officially opened. I'm Natalia Hall. I have all the details from the president of the Bahamas Bar Association on plans for 2023.
The airport, airline, and allied workers union signing a 3-year industrial agreement today. The details of that agreement straight ahead on Our News.
And why transport officials are warning boaters and drivers to steer clear of the site of the MV One Go Traveler in waters off Abaco. Our News Live at 7:30 starts now.
What if I told
This is Our News. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. The 2023 legal year officially opening today. The opening began with a church service at Christ Church Cathedral. Following that service, court proceedings were held at the Margaritaville Resort as the main Supreme Court building is in a state of disrepair. President of the Bahamas Bar Association pledging the association's renewed support to the government and the general public. Italia Hall has more.
Those within the legal profession marching on Bay Street, then on to George Street to Christ Church Cathedral to mark the opening of the legal year. Following the service, the group then gathered at the Margaritaville Beach Resort for the first court proceedings for the year. Bahamas Bar Association President Khalil Parker revealed that 39 new attorneys have now joined the bar. He says recent events in the country have been highlighted on the world stage, which gives birth to more scrutiny.
It is imperative that we fix the proverbial roof while the sun is shining, as the damage being done by being unprepared is not only potentially devastating domestically, but can become fodder for international pundits and commentators instantaneously.
Parker also welcomed the government's commitment to addressing the long-standing and vexing issue of discriminatory treatment towards children of Bahamians.
And their access to Bahamian citizenship, which is their birthright. And for the avoidance of any doubt, there is no place for rape in either Bahamian society or marriages.
The president of the Bahamas Bar Association telling those within the legal profession that the administration of law and justice should be a collective effort.
And through our strategic partnerships with the Office of the Judiciary and the Office of the Attorney General, the legal profession will undoubtedly continue to grow, develop, and thrive.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
State Minister of Legal Affairs Jomo Campbell says in 2023 the government is committed to working hand in hand with the Chief Justice. His comments came as he brought brief remarks on behalf of the Attorney General during the opening of the legal year.
In an effort to ensure that justice is done in an efficient, effective manner, the Office of the Attorney General determines to settle cases where the facts and law supports settlement and to remove unnecessary disputes from the court's calendar.
And in an effort to resolve disputes, he says the government will provide $17 million toward this end.
And the litigation team is working tirelessly to conclude these matters. The Law Reform and Revision Commission and the drafting section of the Office of the Attorney General are involved in one of the most aggressive and progressive legislative agendas. This work is consistent with the Blueprint for Change. Legislation relating to carbon credits, reduced VAT, exemption of taxes for persons impacted by Dorian.
Social Services Minister Obi Wilshcombe hopeful marital rape legislation will be brought by the end of the month. Wilshcombe telling reporters today government is set to meet with another religious group to get their input.
We are to meet with the president of the Bahamas Baptist Missionary Educational Convention. He wanted to meet with us to discuss a few matters and with members of his church, the leadership. We're waiting for that date. We're hoping to have it done very shortly because in March we intend to have a National Women's Convention that will coincide with International Women's Day. And so we want to have several things completed by then.
In August, a Supreme Court judge ruled that although a woman who filed for divorce claimed she felt like a rape victim, as it stands, there can be no rape in marriage in the Bahamas, according to the current laws. Back in September, the Department of Gender and Family Affairs held a one-day symposium at Breezes Resort on the proposed law. At the time, it seemed the church was split on the controversial issue. Wilshcombe also responding to critics who say the government is over-consulting the church on the matter.
Should over-consult the country at all times. It doesn't matter whether it's a church or the Bahamian people. It's always best to do it right the first time so you wouldn't have to come back and do it again. And if we can cause for greater dialogue in our country, I believe that more would be had in our country in a positive way.
While Social Services Minister Obi Wilshcombe revealing an uptick in child abandonment, neglect, and abuse. His comments come after police reported a 14-year-old girl was sexually assaulted in a home in eastern New Providence sometime between January 2nd and January 8th. Wilshcombe acknowledges there is an issue.
We've seen a number of increases over the last several months, particularly as we saw the prices, inflation increase, the levels of poverty obviously reflective, and there have been high levels of depression in our country as well. We believe that relates to a number of the issues that we are seeing.
A chastising by Dame Marguerite Pinling on Majority Rule Day went viral as the former Governor General and wife of the late Sir Lyndon Pinling expressed disappointment in yesterday's celebrations and demanded an apology from the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Senator Fred Mitchell. Residents today sharing their opinion on the matter. Here's our Joshua Williams.
I'm sorry, I cannot contain it any longer because you're using this as a stepping stone and I do not appreciate it.
That was a portion of Pinling's rebuke to the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Fred Mitchell, expressing disappointment in yesterday's celebrations where she felt the focus of the event shifted from her late husband and former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pinling to that of politics, residents giving mixed reactions on her statements.
I really think it was a disrespect to her being the wife of the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister and former Governor.
She had a problem. Yesterday was not the place and the time for it. I think it should have been done in a separate meeting or setting.
When asked if he would apologize, Chairman for the PLP Fred Mitchell told media at the celebrations that while Dame Pinling has her views, he has nothing to say on the matter. When asked if he should apologize, residents had this to say.
Maybe he should give us some apology, to make her feel better.
Yeah, because he's trying to make it like it's a PLP thing. But remember now, you had UBPs on that march and PLPs on that march. It's just, to my knowledge, it's just for a better way of life.
Moving forward, let's make it a general day for me and you.
Reporting for our news, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Joshua. Well, mostly sunny skies around the country today as we're back to work following the Majority Rule Day holiday. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is live in the Weather Center with a look at our current conditions. Good evening, Greg. What can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. We did have a beautiful Majority Rule Day. We also had another nice day today. High pressure remains in charge, and that high will continue with us through Thursday before front gets in here sometime on Friday evening. We'll tell you about that later on our extended forecast. But it's 70 degrees outside our studios right now with just a few clouds. Your winds out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature a cool 71 degrees. Satellite view, quiet around our area. Don't mind this little green stuff there. That's false return for the radar. But a high is going to continue to dominate our weather with beautiful sunny skies tomorrow as well. Temperatures will be near the 80-degree mark. Slight warmer by Friday, but frontal boundary expected by Friday evening, and we're looking for some very chilly weather across the extreme northern islands. Your hometown, Megan, Freeport. Your guys are going to see some nice temperatures by the weekend. That's your first check on weather. Stick with us. A look at extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, a new industrial agreement for airport workers. We'll tell you how long it took to make it happen. And what are the plans for a new hospital on New Providence? The health minister reveals more tonight. Plus, the latest on the sinking of the MV1 Go Traveler off Abaco. What environmental officials are doing to protect the area. That's coming up when our news returns. One union is pushing for more after signing a new industrial agreement today. Our Jamila Mizik explains.
It has been a long time coming for members of the Airport, Airline, and Allied Workers Union as the union inked a new 3-year industrial agreement today. Managing Director of the Airport Authority, Peter Rutherford, explains the 8-year delay.
There would have been some challenges in making sure that everything was consistent with what both parties wanted. We've also recently had about 80 promotions within the security department, within the authority. Another 73 promotions with team members throughout the Family Islands. And then another 30 plus promotions within the Family Islands. In addition to increments in uniform.
And while the parties involved were able to come to an amicable agreement, BPSU President Kingsley Ferguson admits there were wins and losses.
The increases, inclusive as well of the annual increment, I'm of the view that the agreement is a fairly good one. We didn't get the improvement regarding the hazard pay that we sought. That is something that we'll continue to pursue.
The 3-year agreement will expire June 2025. In the meantime, Airport Authority Chairman Paul Bevan says they look forward to fostering a great working relationship with the union.
Now that we're through with this, we can concentrate on the bigger picture, improving our airports, developing new airports, because once we do that, we have a comfortable travel experience for not only the locals, but for our international visitors.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Misek.
Thanks, Jamila. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville shooting down assertions that Highland Park will be the site for the new hospital. Darville saying the decision hasn't been made yet. However, he notes the potential site seems promising.
We have a few potential sites that we're looking at. We're doing geotechnical studies, and the site where the rock is adequate for a facility of this nature will be our most accepted site. Once that's done, we would definitely have town hall meetings because there may be some impact to the community in close proximity. But let's look at it, you know, there's very few passes of land available in New Providence of over 50 acres that is suitable for the construction of a new state-of-the-art facility.
When Our News comes back from the break, why transport officials are advising boaters and divers to steer clear of the MV1 Go Traveler near Abaco. GSSA basketball is back after a 2-year hiatus. UB Lady Mango's volleyball returns off Christmas break, and we see what Bahamians are doing in the association. Stay with us for Our Sports. Plus, our Greg Thompson has your 5-day weather outlook. There's more Our News Live at 7:30 after this break. Welcome back. Divers and boaters are advised to stay away from the area where the NV1 Go Traveler is sinking in Abaco, as the Ministry of Transport and Housing works to protect the marine environment from further damage. The Ministry of Transport issuing a statement noting that it is working to ensure salvage operations of the MV Onego Traveler off Abaco are conducted in a safe manner and without destroying the marine environment. Transport, along with the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, the Department of Planning and Protection, Environmental Health Services, and the Port Department are working together after the vessel began taking on water near Hole-in-the-Wall, Abaco, last month. The ministry says it receives daily progress reports from Resolve Marine, the company overseeing the salvage operations. So far, the ship's cargo remains submerged and consists of 3,119 tons of steel coins and 4,505 tons of ferrous bulk. The statement adds that divers continue to inspect the sunken vessel and booms remain in place to hold the vessel. Efforts to remove public school basketball returns tonight. The UB Lady Mingos are back from their Christmas break, and we catch up with Bahamians in the NBA. Here's Tage Adderley with Our Sports.
Hello, Italia. Good evening and welcome to Our Sports. I'm Tage Adderley. GSSA basketball resumed today after a 2-year hiatus. The University of the Bahamas Lady Mingos volleyball squad plays tonight after the holiday break, and we catch up Bahamian NBA players. Let's check it out. The UB Lady Mingos are back in action after the Christmas break. They played the Lady Panthers tonight in the Anatole Rogers Gymnasium. They finished 2022 with the win over the Lady Technicians in 3 sets, and they're eager to pick up where they left off. Here's head coach Raymond Wilson.
We have to work a lot on blocking at the net. We have to defend our net much better.
Also, we have to work on basically positioning, how we going to play our defense depending on who we are playing. It's just a matter of thinking the game now. They need to brush up their skills and get to the next level of thinking the game.
Teams featuring two Bahamians faced off in the NBA. DeAndre Ayton's Phoenix Suns beat Klay Thompson's Golden State Warriors 125-113 last night in San Francisco. Klay led the Dubs with 29 points. He also grabbed 5 rebounds. Unfortunately, Ayton was out with a sprained ankle. Brown Bahamas' very own Buddy Hield plays the Knicks tonight in Madison Square Garden, so watch that if you can. And that's your look at sports. I'm Tage Adderley.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, your extended weather forecast is coming right up on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Create organic moments with Honest Kids, brought to you by the makers of Honest Tea. All Honest Kids flavors are sweetened only with fruit juice. Honest Kids, organic for happy and healthy children.
I want to say a special thank you to Chances. Getting ready to feed over 1,000 families in the inner city community. It's going to be at East End to West End. Chances is always there for Reach Out Youth Organization. They're not only a gaming industry, they help communities. I always depend on Chances. Reach Out Youth Organization cannot survive without Chances.
We're not just a gaming industry, we are building communities.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Struckham, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Struckham, #1 in pest control services.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
I am an ordinary girl straight out of the bushes of South Andros. An ordinary girl who lived an extraordinary life. And our first date was the Red Cross Fair in 1954. I'll never forget. You were able to feel the people, you were able to feel the love that they held for this man. The exuberance of the people and the love. I can't stop saying that, using the word love, because that's what kept us together. So you can be anything you want to be in this life, so long as you go about it the right way, and in order and in decency. She never forgot her roots. Always that barefoot girl from Andros.
Welcome back to Our News. Mostly sunny and pleasant conditions this week. Greg is back in the Weather Center with your extended weather forecast.
Thanks again, Megan, and welcome back, everybody, for our final check on weather. Of course, high pressure remains in charge of our weather, and that's providing us with some beautiful conditions. We expect that to continue through tomorrow and the early part of Friday before a frontal boundary gets in here. What's left of a frontal boundary now deep in the south, it's across Hispaniola, that's going to be moving out. High will slide out towards the east. That will pave the way for the system that's across the central United States. That's going to drag a frontal boundary across us on Friday. And as I said, nice temperatures expected once that frontal boundary goes through. Spotty showers for the next day or so, but here comes the front, and that front will slide across South Florida by Friday evening and into the northwest Bahamas. A couple isolated showers expected with that. But the cold air mass behind us what we are going to expect, and temperatures will take a big dip for the weekend. Boating conditions tonight through tomorrow for the northwest and central Bahamas. Your winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. They will fall light and variable across the northwest Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your high tide will be at 10:51 tonight for the southeast Bahamas. Caution flag for you guys down there. Easterly flow 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your 7-day forecast, that frontal boundary sliding in here on Friday, showers in the forecast, but once that front goes through, it's going to be windy. Temperatures will take a big dip. We're looking at low 70s, and those nighttime temperatures will be in the upper 50s to low 60s. That's a look at our weather. Back to you, Megan.
Thanks so much, Greg, and thank you for joining us for Our News. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a wonderful and safe evening.
Don't go to Freeport on the weekend.